Hi folks, welcome back to Fishing with Den. Right, this is the fourth instalment of the series we've been doing over the past few weeks, which covers the use of supermarket foods and sauces as additives for bait, instead of using the expensive manufactured ones. And as you've seen so far, I did the tests in the first episode, then I made the Flavour Feeder and showed you that, and then I tested the Flavour Feeder, and I did it in exactly the same swim as I'm using here, so we've got a like for like thing. And I suppose the last thing we need to do is to test it on the pole. So that's obviously why we're here today. And what I've done, I've set up a normal sort of a rig for here. You've got about 3 feet of water, look, something like that. You've got 9, 18, 27, 30, just over 3 feet of water in total. It's never very deep on Den's pond. It's a 0.3, 0.4 of a gram rig. It's homemade, so it's probably somewhere in between. And hook size, I'm staying with a 14, although I'm down on an 018 bottom at the moment. I will be using slightly bigger baits than you might do in the winter, because it is still winter here, but it doesn't get too cold here, so we're going to go with the slightly larger baits because I want to put them in the glug. I'm going to use molasses again, as I said, and it's in this new squeezy bottle now, so that makes it easier for me to do what I need to do. But if that doesn't work, I've got smoky barbecue as well. Well, you never know, do you? So this is really sweet. This isn't so sweet and it's smoky. I don't know. We'll give it a go. So I've already been out, I've plumbed up, and I've got 2 areas to fish. There's one to a tree just there, another one probably 2 or 3 meters to the left of it to another tree that's sticking up over the back there, and that's what I'll be doing. So feeding then. Now with the Flavour Feeder, you put it into the sponge and you cast out and it all did it for you. So this one is slightly more difficult. I'm going to use a pole pot. Now I've done some tests, and what I found is that I actually had quite a long tube with cold water, and it did go down really quickly. It went down as a stream, but then obviously it's going to sort of start to dissolve on the bottom. So that's the plan. We're going to put some in here, not a huge amount, just enough to be able to squeeze it out. And I'm just going to tip the pot over sideways once I get to the desired area. I'm fishing 13 meters out, and hopefully this should work. If it doesn't, you probably won't see this video, but I'm pretty sure it will. So we'll go out to 13 meters, and all I'm going to do is just pot the mixture in like that. Now, as I say, it does go down very well on the test, and it sits on the bottom nicely, and it goes down very quickly actually. It goes down quicker than sweet corn does. It's about 3 seconds per foot. But the only thing that I see as a downside with this, well, not the only thing, but obviously I'm putting this stuff in here, and it's going to create a bit of an issue for me with cleaning the pot. So I'll probably leave it just dipped in the water. So just bear in mind, if you're fishing a match and you've got this pot dipped in the water with some of this stuff in it, and you're fishing with, say, a rod, a feeder, or a waggler or whatever, then you could be contravening the rules, because you're not allowed generally to feed with the pot whilst you're actually fishing with someone else. Some places do allow it, but be careful. So I'll put that over there, nice and squidgy out, look. Not sure about this, guys, but obviously this is the only way I can think of doing it just for today. So what occurs to me is asking you guys, have you got any ideas how I can achieve getting sort of small blobs of this stuff out without having the stuff literally being this greasy mess which is all over the place? So I'll put that probably down in the margins down there for now, out of the way somewhere. See if we can get that in without necessarily losing everything. It's probably going to be a while until I actually get to have a fish. But bait wise, I've just got a can of corn. I have got some small pellets with me, but the plan is, as far as possible, not to use them. I might do, might not. I've also got this little tray here. I might put a little bit of the molasses in there, just as a sort of a glug, so I can put the bait in to give that some extra appeal as well. But look, as I've said all along in this series, this is an experiment. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I'm hoping we'll have a good day. Anyway, that's about all you need to know for now. I'll crack on and we'll get started. Okay then, so let's get one single piece of corn on, and we'll get out there and get this thing started. Not expecting bites immediately. Excuse me. I think last time it took a little bit of time to pull them in. As I say, still a bit cold, although today is turning into actually quite a nice day. So let's put this in down there, and I'll zoom in this camera down here in a second for you, and at least then if we get a bite you'll be able to see it too. If you're wondering what these wires are down here, I've been using the wireless microphones that I'm wearing here for doing testing, and even though I thought I'd charge them, it seems that one of them wasn't charged, so I've got these extension wires on with power banks on. Otherwise you wouldn't be hearing a word I said. Now, about 20 minutes, 25 minutes in, nothing at all on the corn. So this time I just punched myself out 2 bits of bread, and we'll go with that. That seems to work quite well on the hook with the feeder. So see what happens. Still a bit early yet, of course. I wouldn't be surprised if I had to wait at least 45 minutes for a bite. It's just when you start to get bites is keeping them coming though, isn't it? That's the thing. Right, I'll see if my tea's cool enough. Should be, I've left it long enough. Done a bite? I think it was, but I'm just going to make sure it does something a bit more positive. That could have just... Oh, I think it is. Nope, maybe not then. Well, it was indication, and we're now just, as I said, something around half an hour or so in. So that was something. Could have been a liner, but flat calm, as you can see today, of course. We've had winds of late, but today just totally flat calm, which is not necessarily what I've asked for. I actually just took a minute to just put some molasses down in this edge down here, just by that tuft of grassy stuff, just for later on, just to see if I can just steal 1 or 2 fish out of there in the shallow area. It's probably only about that deep. I thought that was the wind blowing it. It was actually moving to the right with the wind, just literally as the wind got up. Hardly anything, but anyway, first fish. It's only tiny. Another one of those goldfish lookalikes, as I'm calling them these days. Oop. Hook fell out. Shown you these before. Sorry, I said goldfish lookalikes a minute ago, didn't I? I meant to say crucian lookalikes. If I can hold the thing, I'll be able to show you. Didn't fight properly on the way in. There you go, look, that's very similar to a crucian, but not a crucian. Well, we've had a bite. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit more of the molasses across onto the left-hand swim, keep that one going, and just continue to fish this one for a few minutes before I go back over that. Sorry, go over to that left-hand one. Haven't tried it yet. And yes, this could be all wrong. Remember, it's all about experimentation today. I don't know where the wind sprang up from. Okay, so my other swim is just over to there. All this in. I'm going to spread it out a little bit more this time, I think, because it occurs to me that I don't necessarily want it all to go down in one sort of single string. And that's literally what it does when I put it in the test pot. See? Okay. Get back out there on the bread. Bread does seem to work really well at these places at this time of the year. And again, I'll go with the 2 bits of 8mm, I think. Just give it a little squeeze, not too hard. Just make sure the air comes out of it and it sinks properly. And yeah, good to go for the next one with a bit of luck. And I think it was about 40 minutes in. So, true to form. Now, where's this wind come from all of a sudden? Just check the old camera, make sure you can still see it. Slid away quite nicely, that one. Somewhat bigger. Could well be a carp this time instead of a crucian lookalike. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's a carp this time. Two. He's probably, at a guess, 3/4 of a pound. But this time next year, he might well be 2 or 3 pounds, along with a lot of the others, as long as we don't get more floods. That'll do, eh? Well, no bite this time, but that's why I've got the 2 swims. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed the one I'm fishing at the moment and then start to fish the left-hand swim, see if that produces. But what I'm going to do while I'm at that is, or just before that rather, I'm going to put some more of the molasses out and keep that swim going. As I said, I'm keeping this in the water at the moment, but I'm also going to put some more down into that little margin swim down there. It's not really a margin because close to that clump of weeds is that deep and it's winter, but I do find that they do seem to hold about 1 metre or so out into the water there, so I'll put a bit of bait in there, can't hurt. And if I don't catch anything, well, I haven't lost anything, have I? Not a match. So there we go. Just I'm going to move this around a little bit this time, I think. I'm going to give it a bit of a spread. There we are. And as I say, I'll just put some in down to the margin on the left. Got no idea what I'm doing, of course. Whether this is the right way of doing it or not. But you won't know until you try. As I said, I haven't fed anything else Up until this point, just the molasses. About there-ish. There we go, look. Nice gloopy sort of a thing, spreading it around a bit. Right, let's try that left-hand swim again with the bread. Keep that in the water down there, out of the way. I'm enjoying today. It's actually turned out really pleasant. I've still got me 3 layers of clothing on, but it's not bad at all. Right, as we say then, well, go left, young man, go left. Young man. Okay, so this one is just to a tree over there, a lone tree with a black car behind it. And, oh, I didn't change the tip colour. I was going to change the tip colour. Sorry guys. I'm going to put a red one on, see what happens. Normally I tend to use yellow and black, but hopefully this compromise of a red, whoops, the compromise of the red will mean that the camera can see it and so can I. Right, sorry about that. So nothing on the left hand side yet then. Let's go back and try that right hand side. That's going left, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Just a tiny run to the left. Let's get out of that swim. And that one. Didn't take it under. It's going to be another one of those Crucian lookalikes. I can guarantee that. Small one too. Doesn't seem like the carp are particularly wanting to play today, but these things tend to, it's just like F1s and Crucians back in the UK. And I think that one's swallowed it. It has, it swallowed it. Amazing. But beautiful little fish anyway. What, 4 ounces? Might as well stay on the bread. 2 pieces, 8mm again. And it's funny how I've now had 3 fish on that right hand swim, and that literally happened what, within seconds of it going in. I can't get a bite on the left hand swim. It does happen like that sometimes. I think we probably all had that, especially if you're a match fisherman. But yeah, 3 fish isn't it? I don't know, we go from flat calm to not howling a gale, but quite windy. Strange day. But at least I can see the red, and I think the camera can probably see it too, so bonus there too. Oh, that's a bit of a lift and a bob. And I missed it. Oh dear me. At least I'm getting a few bites anyway. I'd like to see a few come out of the left hand one as well, so I can rest this one from time to time, but see how that goes. That was off and running before I'd even seen it. That's got to be a carp, that one, hasn't it? Try and keep it out of the swim. Well, it seems one or two of them are going to feed. Nothing big yet. But if this was a match, he'd be building a weight. On a pleasure day like today, it doesn't matter because it's good fun. Yeah, it's carp. That's 4 from that swim. Okay, I think what I'm going to do next is I'm going to feed both the left and right hand swims, and I'm just going to try down in the margin here. Not going to change rigs or anything like that. Just going to put this same rig in, just lay it out. I've done that before. Yes, it's not the right way to do it, but hey, it catches me fish and it's a pleasure day. So that's what we're going to do. Look at that, about a pound. Just to make it easier on myself, I'm going to put a larger amount in here so I can feed both swims. And the only downside to this is if you've got arthritis like me, it hurts to do that squeezing. But stop complaining, Den. It's Tuesday and you're out on the bank on your own on a nice day. Why would you complain at that? Like before, I'm going to spread it around a bit. There you go, that'll do for that one. And that'll do for that one. And I'm quite looking forward to giving this a go, just down to the left here. The fish are usually bigger down in the margins, obviously. Might as well go with the bread, it's what's been doing the damage. And even if I don't catch now, I can feed it and then I can go back to it later. And if it doesn't produce, which wouldn't surprise me because it is winter, that's not the end of the world either. Gotta be careful though, because as I ship out, I think I can get to the last 2 sections. Is it last 1, last 2? Might be that actually. And if I left them on, I'd have been banging into you guys, or the tripod's there. So we're just going to have to go with the flow and see what happens here. I can't actually put the zoom camera on it, I'm afraid, because there's all the grass and stuff in the way. Oh, I think you can probably see that from that one, but there is actually a fish just swirled behind me. No bites yet. I'd like to have another section on, but as I say, I'd probably catch you. I'll just move it a little bit further out as a final try out there just for now. I mean, quite often this is the last sort of hour of the day kind of thing, but giving it a go early on just in case. Now, if we were going to get a bite down there, we'd have that by now. So, as I say, I'll get some goo in down there, and then we'll go back out on the other 2 swims. But we are getting bites, so quite pleased about that. That was a straight under, wasn't it? I nearly didn't believe it at first. Well, so far we haven't fed anything other than the old molasses, the goo, and this will be 5 fish. And for winter, I'm feeling that I'm doing pretty reasonable, thanks. Still only about an hour or so in. As the day gets warmer, they may well come on better. Don't think I've had anything above about a pound or so yet though. And this one's only about, I don't know, 10 ounces. There you go, look. At least that time it was on the left hand side, so obviously 1 or 2 fish willing to feed out there. I could have done with a bit more wind or a bit more undertow, I think. Just something to spread the bait out a little bit, the quick gelatinous syrup, but molasses, because it does tend to sit on the bottom. It does spread out, but I just feel that a little bit of a wind might have helped it to do that. But that's part of the learning curve, isn't it? That's an hour and a half in. Been fairly slow. I've had those 5 fish, 4 from this side, 1 from that side. Gone a little bit quiet, so I've just put some more feed in. I'm going to have a quick cup of tea and lunch. And I'll be back in a sec. Lunch break over them, such as it was. I'm going to go back out with the bread and just give it a go. And then if this doesn't work, I'm going to try the corn again. See what happens there. Could just be the day. Might just be what I'm doing. If it doesn't pick up a bit later on, what I might do is just put some micros and maybe a few bits of corn in there. And to be honest, if this had been a normal day, I probably would have done that. Very small proportions of it, but I probably would have done it just to see. I think a tiny amount of bait doesn't help, but this is what brings them in. But I think you probably need something to hold them there. That's the theory anyway. Well, okay then, Den. Maybe just go with plan A. Straight, lost it. But straight in and straight under. I suspect that was a carp, by the way. So yeah, I mean, something to be said for having something to hold them there, even if it is a tiny little amount of bait. Might have blown that swim for just a moment. That was careering around all over it. I'll give it another go though, just in case. I thought that was a lift bite. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be one of those little cruciany things. Saw it stand up and then just dip under, which was nice. I've actually got a little telltale shot a couple of inches from the hook, just a number 8. Just for that purpose. Because these things are notorious for taking the bait and then just sitting there with it. Again, not a big fish, but at least these are actually sort of coming up today, because the 2 carp, they're obviously not feeding all that well. I've just tried putting some molasses on my bait, and that didn't do me any good. So it's gone a bit slow after that little fish again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get just a tiny little pinch of pellets and 2 pieces of corn. I'm going to put that out on each of the swims and just see if that helps to make a difference. I tried to do it with the other pole pot, it's that sticky inside that it wouldn't even come out, so I had to ditch that idea and put it on top of this pole, which is fair enough. The only thing about this molasses, it is so sticky. I'll do it for both swims, like I said. Oh. I knew they'd turn up there sooner or later. And I've only fed the molasses down there. So maybe it's just that they're in shallower water, because I'm pretty sure that was a carp rather than a crucian lookalike. We'll give it another go, eh? Pretty instant bite though, wasn't it? Well, if not instant, certainly very quick. Wouldn't be surprised if I spooked them all down there. It's pretty shallow and it is winter. There we go. That's a carp. I wonder if they're just basking in the shallows down there. Bring him around a bit. I'll give this another go down there. Might kill it, but hey, catching a few fish, and that's what I'm here for. I think this is probably one of the biggest fish I've caught today, which in itself isn't huge, but as always the margin swims that do seem to have the bigger fish in them. Come on. This time, oh, I think he's a good couple of pound of this. These ain't commercial fish, are they? Leapt out of the net. Wow. Right, come on fish, you can't do it again. I'm not allowing it. There we are. Oh, actually, he's a bit bigger than I thought. He's probably 3 pounds or so. In fact, this time I'm going to try just one large piece of sweet corn. Let's just see if that has any effect at all. And if that kills the swim off for the moment, I think what we'll do next on that one is we'll put out the usual molasses, but this time I'll just flick a couple of bits of corn out there as well, just to see if I need to have a holding bait as well. All a learning curve. Nope, I think that spooked him down there for now, so I think I'm just going to leave this piece of corn on for a minute while I try the main swims. And as I said, I'll feed that margin swim with some more molasses and maybe 2 or 3 bits of corn as well, just as a holding bait this time. Is that the thing? Is it that the molasses brings them in, but you do need a holding bait? That could well be the issue. This is going to take a few goes at trying it just to see what works the best, obviously, but that's okay. I've got the time. Well, the corn didn't help, did it? I'll bring it all in and we'll get that inside swim fed. I'll just try putting a little bit more micro pellets and corn into the 2 main swims, just to see if that sort of energizes it. But at the moment, I suspect probably not much will. I'll keep putting a little bit of the old molasses in as well, but I don't think it's the molasses that's causing me a problem, because obviously I've caught on that. I think the problem is that it's just cold and the fish have had enough for one day. Okay, so that's got the, keep all its syrup, molasses in down there. Just make sure that's underwater, and I'll get some bread back on this one, and we'll put a little bit of pellets and a little bit of corn in this. As I say, I have tried to put some of the glug goo on the hook, and that didn't make any difference either today. That's not saying it won't work, but hasn't today. Just 3 bits of corn again. I'll do it for both inside swims as well. Outside swims rather. I'm just thinking, how far in are we? It's well, we're a couple of hours in, so yeah, it hasn't been fast and furious, but had a few fish, haven't we? And the question, of course, is, have we had a few more fish than we would otherwise have caught if we'd just fed the usual way? Dunno. And it's pretty much dead out in the main swim at the moment, where I've been catching mostly. I'll try the left hand one and then we'll come back in and try the inside swim. It's actually going colder again now. There's clouds coming over, and it's sort of middle of the afternoon sort of thing. So yeah, it could just be that I've had my couple of hours of fun, because they didn't come out until a bit later. So I'll give that left hand swim over there a go, then we'll give a go down there. If we start catching, I'll stay. If we don't, I'll go. Let's try that left hand swim now. I don't know if you saw that fish there. That was a mullet doing all its jumps. They do that. Okay, well, not much doing on these 2 swims. I'm going to come down, as I say, and we'll have a quick go down the margin here just for a bit of fun if there's anything else down there. I suspect I may have spooked everything there too. Better change that bait just to be on the safe side. But I've been here now, what, 2.5 hours, and yeah, I've had a few fish. Can't complain. That's a bite. I love fishing down the edge here. Another crucially thing. Oops. Very often that happens with these things, that the hook pulls out. But he's a decent sized one for down there, isn't he? Give it another couple of goes. Sun's come back out for a second, so I've warmed up a fraction. A bit closer in this time just to see, you never know. Oh, nothing in the really shallow area. Let's go a little bit further out into the slightly deeper bit and see if that makes a difference. There's no real sort of drop off or shelf or anything here. It just sort of, it's a foot deep at the edge, and it just sort of slides into a bowl then. That's a bite. Whoa, slightly bigger fish maybe. Certainly more a bit frantic fish. He's going for the edge. I'll keep him down there just while he's energetic. Let's see if we can get one more out of this swim, but come on. Trouble is I'm bringing them right across the top of the swim. Right, okay. I don't know how many this is now, is it about 10 or so? Nothing big, is there? One more go, I think. What is it about anglers? There's always one more go. Oh, it is a little carp. But it is a little carp. Probably 12 ounces or so. Ooh, he swallowed it. I shouldn't have left him so long, but we'll get the hook out okay. I think we will call it quits with that one, actually. Had a decent enough day. So get back and see what we got for our diet dinner. So then, what's the verdict? Well, seems to work. Obviously it's going to need some more trial. As you saw, took a while for them to come on, which you expect in the winter. Had a few just by feeding the molasses. It slowed down. We had one or two down to the left, again only feeding the molasses. Tried putting the glug onto the bait, that didn't work either. Tried feeding small amounts of micro pellets and odd little bits of corn, that didn't work either. So it wasn't as though the molasses was bringing them in and then sort of, I don't know, they spooked. I think it's winter, that happens. Certainly the particles didn't make any difference whatsoever. Yes, I've caught a few down the edge there, but it could just well have been that the sun's warmed up the edge and the fish had moved in there. It was good fun. Could I have done it differently? Well, yeah, absolutely I could. I mean, I could have, once that started to slow down, which as I said often happens, I could have gone out on a feeder or a ledger. There's only a number of things I could have done, but the point of today was to try and see if we could really bag up on that. And as the day went, it wasn't a bad day. We've had, I don't know, probably 10, 12 fish, something like that. Don't know exactly, lost one or two. Nothing big, but it is flat calm. That hasn't helped either. So I've also got the sun in my eyes now. It's given me a bit of eye strain. So really, yeah. What's the verdict? Well, the verdict is, I think it works. Going to need more testing, so I'm going to have to come out again and do it some more. Always a good excuse for the wife. But yeah, so look, I've enjoyed the day. I've only been here 2.5, 2 3/4 hours, something like that. But it's a nice getaway. It's only 300 meters from my home, so you know, you couldn't really not enjoy it, could you? So as always, I hope you did. And if you did, please click the like button. If you want to subscribe, that'd be great too. And of course, if you want to contribute, that's always much appreciated too. And until the next time then, bye for now.